Rams. Fourth quarter, still that score. It's Wilson. It's DK Metcalf. He had only 2 catches on the day for almost nothing, but this was close to a big play.
They're just off, and this is the one that they needed to make. You know, generate that offense. Big play down the field. We've seen it so much. They just missed that yesterday.
And then here's Wilson, and here's looking for Greg Olsen, but now we got another interception, his second of the day. Wilson with 2 picks and a fumble. Back-to-back tough weeks for the Seattle offense, and the Rams with a big win in this NFC West battle, 23-16. And so you take a look at Russell Wilson. Again, 2 weeks ago he was the MVP of the league, but he has really struggled against standard rush since they were 5-0. When the Rams sent 4 or fewer yesterday, Russell Wilson was just 13 of 25, 117 yards, 2 picks, and he was sacked 4 times. That 52% completion percentage tied for his lowest in the last 3 seasons. And so as we watched that game yesterday, RC, as the defensive back, if I were to say to you, the best player in the NFL yesterday, and I'm including DeAndre Hopkins and everybody else, was Jalen Ramsey and what he did to shut down DK Metcalf, what would you say?
You'd be absolutely right. Listen, we talked about my group chat earlier, and like I said, there's about 30 DBs on there, and the question was asked, who wins that matchup? And to a man, they all said it would be Jalen Ramsey. And on the chat, I said, you know what? I think that DK Metcalf will get behind him for at least 1 shot. They had that shot, and they missed it. He only had 2 catches for 28 yards in 4 attempts against Jalen Ramsey. Shout out to him, Bo. And because of that, you saw that Russell Wilson struggle. It was hard to find the auxiliary plays off of what DK Metcalf could create. This was one of the reasons I think he fell in the draft, was when you found somebody that he couldn't bully, when you found somebody that his athletic gifts weren't more than, he was going to struggle. He doesn't have the wiggle at the line. He can't necessarily bend in and out of cuts, and we watched Jalen Ramsey take it to him. The one thing about Jalen Ramsey is when he has someone in front of him, when he has a challenge, he's never scared. He attacks that challenge, he's aggressive, and he is mean as hell. And we saw that yesterday, and he was a huge reason why the Los Angeles Rams were able to play so well against Russ and get that W.
So, Rex, as we watched this game yesterday, which of these teams is for real? They're in that tough division. If I'm telling you right now, one of these 2 teams, Seahawks, Rams, are going to make a deep playoff run, which one are you telling me it's going to be?
I would take the Rams. And look, Jalen Ramsey, there's only one of those in the league, so let's not overreact about DK Metcalf being done. But he was absolutely phenomenal. But I like the combination of what they have in the secondary with their pass rush. You know, you said, well, a 4-man rush. Well, it looked like a blitz. Why? Because Leonard Floyd was all over the place. He had 3 sacks, and Aaron Donald's best defensive player in the league. So they have a defense, and if they'll run the football and not let Jared Goff just throw it all over the place, they'll have a chance.
Yes. And Dan, I mean, Russell Wilson, he was the best player in the league for the first 7 or 8 games of the season. What has happened?
He's got to score 30 every game. I mean, that's the mindset that Russell Wilson goes into a game and goes, okay, our defense is probably going to give up 30. They're historically bad, so I've got to go and do everything I can to create offense for our football team. They've got a terrible run game, and so, listen, this is, you live by the 3, you die by the 3, so to speak. And so Russell has certainly forced some things over the last 2 weeks, and he hasn't played well, but it's bigger than just I haven't played well. It's I feel like I got to score so many points every week because I know what's going to happen when the offense gets the ball. They're going to score on my defense, so he's forced the issue.
Yeah, he had scored, or they had scored 34 points in each of their losses before yesterday. Yesterday was something of a meltdown entirely. Meanwhile, we just got some news in that I wanted to bring you because it's very good news, and everyone has been talking about all year long the Eagles visiting the Giants in a big game. And you know what? The Eagles know Daniel Jones can run with the football, but they don't stop this.
And there's no plan for it. Like, who's accounting for who? Who's got the back? Who's got the quarterback? Who's got scrape? This is just a poor plan by the defense, and it happened all over the game yesterday.
It's a 34-yard touchdown from Jones, and then here's a much shorter one for Wayne Gallman.
Yeah, Gallman had a good afternoon, ran physical, kind of set the tempo for this offense, goes up over the top. He's never met at the goal line.
Giants up 14-3 at the half, but the Eagles would play it tough in the second half. Here comes Boston Scott.
This is a good start to their second half. Kelsey with a great lead block, and then nice job by Boston Scott of just staying in bounds on this long run. They needed kind of this jump offensively, and they got it.
Eagles 1 for 2. They got it, so it's 14-11. Then the Giants scored a touchdown. Then the Eagles scored a touchdown.
Well, on this drive, they got Carson Wentz out of the pocket, some good generated offense, and then Clement finishes it.
And then they go for the 2 again.
Why? You're going to go down by 2. Kick the extra point. You're down by 3. Like, You tie the game if you get a field goal. Simple math.
Analytics stink.
Analytics stink.
And I'm not doing this,
The
Greeny.
philosopher Rex Ryan, and there's the fourth down play at the end of the game.
You're throwing to Bradbury? Bradbury's been one of the best corners in football. I want to make somebody else on that Giants defense beat me.
Oh, by the way, Joe Judge and the Giants win the game, and despite both having just 3 wins, the Giants and Eagles are right in the battle for the NFC East. Not going to be easy for either team the rest of the way. The teams are currently favored by ESPN's FBI in just 3 games combined. The Giants have a couple of winnable games coming up after a bye. The Eagles are just a disaster. And, you know, Dan, the Eagles are a team, and Carson Wentz is a player that you have talked so much about. Yeah. You sort of unloaded on the Eagles earlier this morning, but specifically on the quarterback, who had Brett Favre criticizing him last week. What did you see yesterday?
I mean, yesterday, listen, he played good. He never elevated the team. Like, he didn't give the ball away, which matters. You know, I think he has like 3 or 4 drops and 3 or 4 throwaways, so that skews some stats. But there was never like the wow play. There were some misses over the middle of the field. That's been part of their season, but there was never like the, okay, our team needs a great play, and I'm going to go make it. And they're at that point this season, in this season right now, where like, yes, you're going to need some hero ball from Carson Wentz for them to win some games, and for that not to happen yesterday. That was the moment where I was sitting there going, are you scared to make a mistake right now? Like, are you getting coached out of playing ultra aggressive with the fear of just don't turn the football over?
RC, as you watch
the Dan almost did it.
What did he almost do?
He almost did it, guys. He was almost critical of Carson Wentz, and then he got to the end and goes, "Are you getting coached out of it? Are you, Carson?"
I was critical of him. I've been critical of him for weeks. But RC, it's bigger than that, and you know that. It's bigger than that, and you know that. It's not just as easy as like, well, the quarterback's just
What
not
is it
playing.
then? What is he getting coached out of, and why?
Well, I'll go to this. Like, he never got outside of the pocket till the third quarter with 7 minutes to go against the defense that struggles with that. Like, that should have been the basic of their game plan. And then also, like, sometimes you can see, like, there's the want to let that ball out of his hands, and there's the thought right now of like, okay, can I let it go? But like, the Giants have a good defense. He had a couple throwaways and a couple drops. So it's not like there's this, like, there's not 2 or 3 plays yesterday, RC, where you could point to and go like, wow, that's really bad by Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
They lost that game by Carson Wentz. They lost that game because of coaching. They lost that game because they put the handcuffs on the game plan. They lost that game because they had 2 weeks to prepare against a good defense, and they did nothing. The fourth down call is the perfect example. 4th and 10, and you go at Bradbury with your rookie receiver. The receiver that's been balling for you was on the other side, and we don't throw him the ball?
Go ahead, RC.
Now, I think the big thing is this, y'all. We have to remember, you got to think back to that primetime meeting between the New York Giants and the Philadelphia Eagles. If Evan Ingram gets his arms extended, we're talking about a different topic. We're talking about the New York Giants maybe running away with the NFC East because they had beaten the Philadelphia Eagles twice. And the reason that we thought, or that many people said the Philadelphia Eagles would win the East, was because of Doug Peterson and because of Carson Wentz. Yeah. Even listening to Dan, you know that Doug Peterson isn't diagramming, isn't scheming, isn't calling plays in a way that helps his offense. And also, if Carson Wentz doesn't play hero ball, or if we don't see those 1 or 2 plays a game that make us say, you know what, that's why they paid him 110. You know what, that's what we see from him that keeps us holding on, then they can't win. And we're starting to see that more and more from the Philadelphia Eagles. And this thing is in decline. It is regressing, and they're in trouble.
There's no question, Rex, this was not part of the plan, but I feel like I need to ask you, as you watch them play, how much of this is on the quarterback? Like Carson Wentz they always get too much credit, and how much of it is about the quarterback to you?
No, I just think they got, forget the quarterback play. Let's give some credit to the other team.
Yeah.
That's what we're not doing here. We're blaming. Yeah. Look, they got their tackles back. They did all this. Wait a second. The other team is doing pretty good. By the way, the guy that everybody wanted to throw away, Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
Oh, he hadn't turned the ball over the last 2 weeks. Well, trust me, he's a pretty darn good quarterback. And Joe Judge, look, as much as I dislike the guy, I like him now because he's starting to bring this thing in. I'm starting to see the vision he had. And you know what? He doesn't have to be Joe Badass anymore. He's sitting back and embracing his football team. And I think his players appreciate it. And I see a team, we talked about it right there. If Ingram could catch the football,